All right, welcome back, everyone. This is probably one of the final videos we'll have for the methods. And just to do a quick review. So we started here where we were just creating some pretty basic, simple methods, right? This one's called public static void run, and then to run the run method, we put the name and the round brackets in the main method, which is this public static void part. Then we progress to methods with parameters. And in here, so we had a method called add num, and in the parameters in the brackets, it takes two numbers, two integers, and we'll see from here, the main method, we can actually ask the user to input those numbers into variables and then pass those through to that add num variable or add num method. All right, so went from simple to a little bit more complex. Today isn't, I wouldn't say super complex, but what we are doing is now we're talking about different kinds of methods. And I'll show you what I mean. So far, we would have had something that looked like this: public static void, print num. I'll copy this and put it into our new class. So remember, these happen outside of the main method, and it's always helpful to label, because we're going to have many different closing brackets to label what they are. So this is ending of class. This one here is ending of main method. For now, I'll just label those two. Okay, so in the past, we've just used public static void. The key here, so void, what void means is that all we do is execute whatever's in these brackets. But there's different kinds of methods, and I'm going to show you one right now. And we call this a return type. So this is public static. And instead of void, I'm going to put ints. I'll call this 7. Public static int 7. And right now, all this method is going to do is return the number 7. So you don't even have anything else happening in here. We're just going to return the number 7. Okay, run it, nothing will happen so far. But here's how we can actually use these methods. So I'll create an output statement, system.out.println. And let's see, the number is, and this number, this method name here, we can actually just copy that and paste it. And what's going to happen here, so the number is 7, right? So just to go back, what happened here, this 7 method returns the number 7. And when we call that method here in this output statement, all it does is produce the number 7. Okay. One thing I would advise though is, rather than just putting that method name in the output, I would do something like this, where we save it to a variable. Int x is equal to 7. Right, there we go, and it works the same way. Okay, so in a nutshell, that's how these return types work, right? We have public static still, but then we put the data type of the kind of data we want to return. Let me show you one more, and we'll get to some more complex examples. Public static string name, and let's return the name Mr. Chong. Boom. So same thing, we could call this and put it right into an output statement, but I would always advise just to make it easier to save these to a variable. So we got string name equals name. And now we can just output the variable name. And there we have it. Name is outputted. So at this point, especially if you're watching at home, it might be a good idea to pause and maybe rewatch parts of it, because that we covered quite a bit in just a short amount of time there, right? Or if you're listening to class, we'll probably skip a little bit ahead from now. But now let's get to some more complex examples with this. And here's how we can start, especially with that rock, paper, scissors, we can start bringing these methods in. So let's create a new method. All right, public static int. We'll call this rand num1. All right. If you're typing these, don't worry if you get a red line here, right? What it wants is the return type, but we haven't gotten there yet. Okay, here's what let's do. We're going to create a variable int rand1, and we're going to have it generate a random number. So let's do math.random. Remember, we need to turn this into an integer. And for now, I'm just going to have it multiply by a number. I won't really set a range for it. I'll just have it multiply by number by 10. Okay. And oh, let's see. There we go. And I'll add one. This is just a quick way to do that. Yeah, math.random times 10. And then we're going to have this return rand1. Done. Okay, let's do this again. Except this time we're going to call this rand2. Okay, so now we have two methods that are going to return random numbers to us. Let me grab or replace this method here with the add num method. The last slide. Okay. All right, so basically what our plan here now is we're going to take these two random numbers, We're going to save them to variables, and then we're going to pass them through add num. So we never really know what numbers are going to be added together. Okay, so let's get this going. We're going to create a new x. So we don't actually have to declare int x again because we already have it assigned to 7. We just need to say x equals rand num1. Right, that assigns the random number to variable x, and y hasn't been created, so we do need to declare it with the data type, and this is going to be rand num2. All right, so those two are saved, and then now, if you see this add num here, we're going to run them. We're going to put those through to add num. Okay, and then we'll try this out. So, like I said, we have no idea what numbers are going to be added together because these are all random numbers. All right, let's try it. Run it. And see, the sum of 8 and 2 is 10. Let's run it another time. The sum of 5 and 4 is 9. 5 and 10 is 15. 10 and 7 is 17. All right, so there you have it, right? This is a combination of all the different types of methods that we've used, and a combination also of this random number generator. So we will try to use something like this with rock, paper, scissors, where we can break it up into different methods. So even just brainstorming a little bit in advance, you could use a random number method like this to generate the computer's choice, right? You can create another method that asks the user choice. And then, just like how we pass those numbers into the add num method, you can create a method that controls the flow of the game. You pass through the options to it, and that is what runs the game. Okay, that's a lot of information today. Let me know, guys, if you have any questions. All right, take care, guys. Have a good one.